What's up, guys? Welcome back to the WRPF podcast. I'm your host, Alex Uslar. Episode 58. We got my boy, Sean Smith. Sean is the owner of the Chaos Lab out in Richmond, Virginia. He's one of our very own WRPF meet directors out there in Virginia as well. He's also, like myself and like a lot of other meet directors, a crossover meet director, also runs meets and does things in the USAPL, is an active competing powerlifting himself, not retired like myself and some of the other gym owners, meet directors. He's still staying active. Respect to you for that. So yeah, that's your long-winded intro. Welcome to the show, Sean. I'm excited to chat with you. I know we've talked a little bit on Instagram in the past about gym owning, meet directing, business, and stuff like that. So I'm excited to hear your story.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's definitely been a whirlwind experience doing it all.
Hell yeah. I think I saw you have a podcast of your own as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're gonna dive into all that shit, right? How it can just start powerlifting, kind of start as a hobby and blossom into these multifaceted businesses, like yourself, me, and other very fortunate individuals that get to call it our career, right? It's a very special thing. So kind of just give us your background. Let everyone know who you are, who doesn't know. What were you doing well before powerlifting that kind of got you into the eventual journey of powerlifting?
I guess the simplest way to get into fitness was through sports. Like high school, I played four different sports, soccer, swimming, football, baseball, all of that kind of stuff. Um, Ended up playing college football. So after playing college football, kind of had to find my way into things. And that's where the
I
gym
just
came
heard you
in.
say swimming and these other things. I'm like, man, Sean's a big motherfucker. I don't see him going to college for swimming. So that makes more sense. You went to college, played football.
Yeah, no, I could have gone for anything because I was like a quarter of the size that I am now. COVID is the reason why I'm as big as I am right now, actually.
Okay.
Um, no, yeah, after college sports kind of ended, I tried to pursue like the NFL and everything, but that didn't really work out. Just, it's a very hard thing to do. So I ended up doing like a normal 9 to 5, not really working out. Had a friend that was a personal trainer, and he's like, "You might want to do this. Like, it gets you back into it." Started doing some of that on the side. Ended up going to a corporate style gym before this. It's called American Family Fitness out here in Virginia. I ended up taking over the personal training department, started leading some classes and all of that, and ended up meeting one of my best friends, Clay. He's also my media guy on the media side of everything. He kind of got me into the sport because he was like, "You're too big to be, not strong. Like you look the part, but are you actually strong? Can you do my sport?"
So let's kind of go point by point before Clay introduced you to actual powerlifting as a whole. So through high school, in college, playing football, what was your position and what kind of training were they having you do, and how small were you actually?
So if you looked on record, I would always lie and say that I was 6 foot, 215 pounds. Never that. I'm more like 5'10", 180 pounds in high school. We didn't really work out. We did like beach body stuff because small town high school, like you just want to be able to be athletic. I didn't really get into lifting until really 4 or 5 years ago. Like, cause I ended up getting hurt in college, and they didn't want me to further hurt myself. So I kind of stayed away from squatting, didn't really deadlift because deadlifts hurts your back, is what the older guys used to
Typical
say.
strength and conditioning coach stuff, right?
But yeah, I went to college as a running back. Ended up switching because I didn't like getting hit. At the college level, getting hit hurts a lot more. So I ended up being a middle linebacker instead.
Nice. So super selective in what you're actually doing in the gym. You're lifting weights, but you still weigh a buck 80, not a whole lot. You get out, you start training. What was your training style like? Like, were you on social media? Were you watching people? Were you on bodybuilding.com forums? Like, what did that look like, your workouts?
So the workouts and training I used to do were pretty much what you got taught in school because my degree is in exercise sports science. And so it looks like bodybuilding, looks like HIIT, it looks like CrossFit kind of. But one of my managers, who was also into powerlifting, was really heavy into conjugate and West Side. So I dived headfirst into learning about that stuff once I met Clay and started learning about powerlifting itself, like going to meets, reading the books, watching videos. I was going to say, I think the first meet I ever went to was in 2019, and it was a Johnny Lane meet, USPA.
Okay, so that around that time, 2019 is when your buddy said, "Hey, you should give powerlifting a shot." You started kind of immersing yourself, learning about West Side, learning about these different things around that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was already really a point where powerlifting was booming. Like you hear us talk about some of us that have been in it a while longer, it wasn't as readily available. But 2019, you have social media, you have meets pretty much everywhere, even if you're in a small town, and you have kind of, friends that could just be at a regular gym you're at, kind of informing you of it. So that's where you were at. You go to your first meet, and where does it kind of start scaling up from there?
Well, it really kind of paused because of COVID. It's right. I go to the meet. I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to try this. And then it kind of shut down for 4 months. I think it was like 4 months here in Virginia. So that's where I ended up putting on a ton of weight. I ended up coming out
Not
of
as
COVID
bad
at
as
like,
some states, right? Like, man, when I've interviewed overseas people, like in the UK, it was literally like 15, 16 months before they could step foot in the gym again, you
oh
know?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, here in Virginia, the main thing was like those 4 months you were truly locked down, and then unless you go to the grocery store, and then I mean parks and everything were open, but I didn't have any equipment. I didn't. All I had was maybe like a dumbbell or two around the house, and that got old pretty fast. But I came out like 260, 270. Like DoorDash and Uber Eats were my best friends during COVID. So yeah, I mean, that kind of just set me on my path to get stronger because now I have all this extra weight. Now I want to lean up, but also, be strong.
So here we are, middle of 2020, kind of end of 2020. You had all this time to also further learn about powerlifting, kind of get the itch for it. So you start training powerlifting yourself, and then when do you compete for the first time?
February of 2021, Kim Stewart brought back powerlifting in Virginia first, and that was USPA as well. So I started with USPA as my lifting federation.
So what did that kind of look like from going from that first meet, kind of getting bit by the bug? Where do things start going from there? Competing again, deciding now, has it already becoming more of a career? You said you were working at a gym, so you were just a personal trainer at like a commercial gym, right?
Yep. I mean, really just seeing all my friends and everyone get into it from that point, like USPA started getting bigger. USAPL is pretty big here with Saber running the meets. Um, so I do the meet in February, and then later in October I end up going to North Americans because I actually end up doing pretty well. So at that time, it's like, well, I'm kind of into this now. Like I'm kind of good enough to qualify for these things. I might as well take it a step further. So then I ended up hiring my coach Andy, huge Asian guy, in I think the following year, February 2022, and that's where he takes me to nationals. I do pretty well there. I end up going to doing another meet later that year, going 9 for 9, and I'm like, well, I think I'm going to open up my own space. So that's where that part comes into it. It's just kept going and going, kept growing from there.
So what was your initial? So you decided you want to open your own space. Obviously, even though you'd only been competing a year, this is your degree. You've been working in a gym. You've been working as a personal trainer. What kind of got your mindset of wanting to open your own place? Was it like wanting to have somewhere that's niche for powerlifting, seeing the powerlifting opportunity? Was it kind of getting tired of like that kind of more corporate environment? Because, it's so many people's dream to open a gym, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's only a small percentage that actually make that dream happen, actually make that dream come into fruition, and make that dream come into fruition successfully. So, kind of what went through your mind in your decision making process of it becoming a thought? And then what were the steps to then put it into action? Because I think this is valuable for people. I've talked about it in a lot of episodes, my own personal steps and my own personal thought processes and all of it. So I'm curious to hear kind of what went through your head.
Well, so I'll be pretty straightforward. I did not want to open up a gym. It wasn't a dream. It was more of I wanted to build a community of people who were just as excited as I was into doing it because I mean, I'm around 10, 15 friends that are doing it, but I want to know if all of Richmond wants to do it. And in Richmond, you have corporate gyms, you have Gold's, Crunch, and all of those. There was no niche spot. And then later in that year, after I'm starting to powerlift, there's a bodybuilding gym that opens up. And I was like, well, if they're able to have their own spot, I kind of want to be able to provide that for us, even if it's just a small level and it builds or it becomes what I have now. So slowly but slowly, I just started to plan, talk to other gym owners, talk to other people who had, started businesses, try to get a feel of what I needed to do, or if it was even a feasible thing for myself. Because I'm not super rich, I don't come from a family or anything like that. Um, it was really just what I had in savings, what I was able to grab through small loans or credit cards, and just kind of took the leap. I mean, a lot of it is really just taking that leap. It's not really, uh, not everyone can do it. Like sometimes you really just have to be lucky. And I definitely would say I have been lucky being open and being successful and able to run the meets that I do.
Yeah, because I mean, most anyone can try to apply for a loan, right? You have the money, you have you have the credit to then get a loan. You can go on Rogue, you can order whatever the heck it is. You can take the leap. A lot of people can, but it's a lot of it, and I say it all the time, and people are like, "Oh no, it's your hard work too." It's just but a lot of things in life do also kind of come down to the roll of the dice and where the dice land, right? And then they land on your side and was kind of luck help led to your success that your roll of the dice was worth it, right? And
Right.
it's sometimes when I tell people that it's hard for them to kind of understand that there's not always a secret recipe. There's not always a you must do things and follow them in these steps and that's what's going to make you successful.
Yeah,
I
no.
can do the exact same thing, and the clone of me can do the exact same thing, and this can be amazing, and this one just completely flops. But a lot of it goes back to what you said is you got to analyze your market and analyze the potential niche of it. And if there's going to be people who are going to be into it, if you're going to try to open powerlifting gym in LA where there's a million other gyms and your overhead is going to be exponential, maybe there's not as good of a chance of success in something like that, right?
Right. I mean, like talking about it, like I went 11 months in negotiations for a space after I've been looking. And the guy was like, you know what? I just don't think I want a gym here. So he gave it to a discount, like Dollar General kind of store. And I was like, wow, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. So for a while there, I was really thinking like I was gonna have this space. I had all the stuff being planned out. Then it got ripped from me. So I was like, well, do I stop? Is this my sign to stop? And fortunately, like within a matter of days, another spot came open. They're like, hey, we really want you to be here. There used to be a gym here, and now there's not. Would you be able to come look? And it's the spot that I have now.
Dude, that is so fortunate. And it's also something so similar to what I went through. People know if you know kind of the story of I had a location, I had a lease signed, they had $30,000 in my security deposit. I couldn't get my business my certificate of use as an actual gym, so we got it as a warehouse, which a lot of gyms operate like that. It's technically not fully legal, but it's most people are okay with it. At the final hour, while I have $200,000 worth of equipment driving down from Iowa, 3 days before it's all supposed to arrive, they said, "Nope, never mind. You need to get out. We're keeping all your money." And I had that same like what the fuck moment. I told myself, I was like, man, if I didn't already have all this equipment on its way, I think I'm gonna fucking pull out right now. Like this is insane. The amount of and people don't understand like that those kind of initial times take so much and so much planning, so much passion, so much going into it. And landlords are the freaking worst. The
Yeah.
absolute freaking worst. Because then it went into after that, I get it ripped out from underneath me, move all my stuff into storage because it was already on the way. All this equipment I have. I start the search again, and it's like it's negotiations. It's all these crappy landlords. Like, people don't want a gym. It's not going to be able to properly be zoned for a gym. And my scenario, even though it wasn't a place that used to be a gym, it was just such a perfect place that was already zoned, had all its ADA compliance, all the BS of the city of Miami, which is very strict needs. But my silver lining wasn't that it used to be a gym. But my silver lining was like, yo, I'm going to buy this place. I can buy it and be my own landlord. Because after trying to negotiate with, 10, 15 landlords over the 6 months before that, I was like, man, I don't want to have to deal with one of these people all the time. After managing a gym, managing hybrid for years, and having to deal with these bullshit landlords coming by all the time. So, like you said, that like those kind of circumstances, you can't have a textbook for that. For this is how it's going to happen. A lot of that's
Right.
luck. It's what happens to fall in your lap, and if you're able to take the leap and take the risk and run with it.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's people I know who have worse situations than I do, who have best situations, and just other issues came up. Like this building isn't the greatest. Like I definitely had some replacements. Like I had to replace some AC units, a water heater, tear down some walls, paint it. Like the gym essentially is built by me and my crew. Like it wasn't just handed perfectly. And there's some people that walk into a place and it's all you do is place equipment.
Yeah. And it's about the sacrifice. It's about how much you're willing to sacrifice, how far you're willing to go. It's like I said, I lost that first place. Then I'm so passionate and so driven to get this done, even though I'm getting bashed by this landlord, bashed by that landlord. Upon this perfect spot, which is what Ghost Gym is now. And I'm like, man, this is way above my budget. Man, it's for sale. I have to buy it. This guy won't lease it to me. All right, I start talking to banks, and what do I have to do? I told myself by any and all means, I'm going to get this done. I have to put my house up as collateral. My home that my family lives in, the only option to get a loan that large to buy a commercial real estate property is my home that I live in. This is going to be collateral against this loan. So if the gym fails, they can come and take my home.
Right.
So it's a matter of what you're willing to sacrifice, how far you're willing to go, and just know that it's not easy, right? You gotta grind to kind of get there.
And that's why like some people will look at gym owners like, some gym owners are just so mean, or why are they always cussing out members and stuff? And it's like, man, because we put everything on the line. Like it's not just you're walking into this space that we put equipment down. Like your house is on the line, my car is on the line. This might cause stress in the marriage. Like anything could happen on our side of things that they just don't know about. And they probably don't care about in the very end of it, but like it's a lot.
It is, but it's also, at least for me, the most rewarding thing. After working in gyms for 8 or 9 years before I officially opened Go myself, um, that was fulfilling. It was fulfilling being a trainer. It was fulfilling seeing people progress and seeing my athletes do better. But having your own place that every day you can walk in and be like, man, this is mine. All this equipment, this is mine. You're using my shit. It's you have the events and you see all these people celebrating and doing a competition in your own gym. It's a special, special thing that when you can get past those humps and those hurdles, and hopefully your dice rolled in the right direction that you're not going to close 6 months after you opened. It's a cool thing. It's very cool.
Oh yeah, no, that first competition that we held, I think it was during deadlifts. I started getting like teary eyed because I was like, everyone's cheering, everyone's so happy, and I'm like, man, if you only knew what it took to get to this point, and then to set up for the competition and have it run well, I was like, it doesn't get any better than that,
Yeah,
honestly.
man, 100%. So what did that timeline look like? Why? So you decided in early 2022, that's when you're like, I want to open a gym. You start looking, you kind of get screwed by that place. When did you find your place, and when was that first meet that you hosted?
So it's in 2021 that I really started putting pen to paper for the gym. It's around whatever 11 months is past May, but like we opened up the gym in August of 2022. So like that whole time period before, it's going to places, building things, trying to track down equipment companies, trying to get timelines because at that time they were still operating on COVID time. So like you
And they
had
still are to this day.
minimum 16 weeks until equipment, and that's like I hope it doesn't get stuck on the ship because if it does, that's just another couple of months, and that hurts business if you can't open with machines. So
So
we're about to go into like our second full year being open.
it's funny. My 3 year anniversary is August because we opened August of 2021. So there you go. You're just 1 year ahead. So through this period, right, you're competing in the USPA. What got you interested in now becoming a meet director? Did you right away start thinking about that? You're like, okay, I know I'm going to open a facility. I want to be able to host events of my own. And what was that whole process like? Was it happening simultaneously with the gym? How did that kind of that transition and add-on happen?
So luckily in Virginia, we have USAPL ran by Saber Schnitzer. It's very renowned director, does really great meets. So I got to watch and learn from him when the gym was open because that was our very first meet we had there. But I have like a little bit of a control freak tendency. So like I like to have my hands on a little bit of everything just because it's in my facility. And I started learning from George Spohr from USBA, Saber from USAPL, just kind of like how it works. And the more I got into, knowing what it is, I just wanted to be more part of it. I didn't really want to ref at the time. I just wanted to like be the one who puts on the logistics of it. And that's probably in December of 2022 when I first started like getting into it. Because then February is when I really got switched over with WRPF and everything else.
I believe we spoke, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I reached out to you and Anna, like that first story or two that hit.
Yep, I remember. So we had the conversation, we converted you, we brought you over, and at that point, I don't think you had a sanction pulled right yet, right, for a different federation. You then went forward pulling your first sanction.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of talks because George was on the fence about pulling completely out of USPA or only running a certain number of them because we had contracted him for like 6 meets that year. We ended up getting 2 out before he ended up quitting. So that's what kind of made our transition happen.
So you guys hosted 2 meets. You were kind of the host facility, but George was the meet director behind it, right?
Yes.
So then out of necessity, ultimately he decides, that he's not going to be a part of it. You reach out to us. And since you already had that experience working alongside of him, boom, it's time for you to take matters in your own hands and be able to control it all on your own, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So what was that first competition under the WRPF on your own?
So I didn't even have it really on my own. I had Travis Rogers come down, him and Eric Martinez. I'm really good friends with both of them. They're really great people in the sport. At the time, Travis was the referee manager, I believe. And, it was a long, long meet because, there's always some mistakes and little hiccups when it's your first full-fledged meet like that. But it was good. Like it wasn't, had some world records, had some state records, had some insane pulls and everything go on. So it was a lot of fun.
It's cool because, like you said, you found Richmond, Virginia. It's a big city, man,
Oh, yeah.
and it's always surprising, especially in this period. Like I said, when you got into it in 2019, powerlifting was already at a huge rise, as opposed to if you're talking about 2016, looking at any major city and seeing if there's powerlifting. 2021, 2022, powerlifting is everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's crazy to me that still to this day, Ghost is really the only powerlifting gym in all of Miami. Before Ghost, it was only Hybrid, right, that I worked at and ran for multiple years, which is now closed down. It's only Ghost. There's one other gym that's mainly a bodybuilding gym that has some combo racks in the entire state or the entire city of Miami. And it's crazy to me, but it's an awesome opportunity because if you can kind of get that market and you can do something special, it's like I said, I cross over. I have, 2 WRPF meets a year, 4 USAPL meets a year. I'm catering to all kinds of different markets, the young college kids, because collegiate powerlifting is really huge here. The untested lifters on the other side of things. And it's cool to kind of be able to unite both of those and see someone else like yourself who's also doing that, bringing both together in your facility and really getting to live a dream, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like we ran 14 or 15 meets last year
In your
between
gym?
both feds. Yeah, between both feds.
Holy crap. That
So like USAPL in Virginia has about 2,000 plus members in it. So the demand is there. And WRPF being brand new, we still sold out 3 meets last year. So the rest were USAPL. So it's a lot of the experience working on lifting cast and how to run meets, how to run sessions, drug testing. It's pretty much all the same when it comes to federations. Um, and then this year, I think we're on track to do the same, about 15 meets, but it's going to be like 8 of the USAPL.
So what does that look like logistically for you? Because again, I have 6 or 7 meets in total on the calendar this year. And for me, it's like the thought of having one every single month, like, dang. But it's also because I have so much equipment. It takes so much setup, renting a U-Haul, hauling everything out of my gym. So what does that kind of look like for you, being a gym that you operate usually, closing down for your members, or your members kind of understanding of it, knowing that you're primarily a powerlifting gym?
So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Is that we are a powerlifting gym. There is some gyms that have combo racks and kilo plates, sure. And on meet day, if you really really need to lift on that Saturday, you'll just get a day pass to one of those gyms. But my facility is laid out to where it's kind of sectioned off, like it's 8,300 square feet. So
Oh, that's
one
not
section,
that's big.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's a very good size. One section has the cables and the machines. One section is purely warm up room and what all the combo racks are at. And then the main space in the middle is all of my how to say it, free weights, dumbbells, all of that. So that's easy to move. That's easy to stack and put away in different areas. So just got down to a science, moving that stuff out the way and creating space where we need to.
Like you say,
But yeah, once a month.
it's a
Once a
science,
month
but
is a meet.
geez, every month you get done with one. After I run a freaking meet and it's a long weekend, I'm like, man, I need a vacation. I need a day or two off of it because although it's super fulfilling, like running a gym is more systematized, and even though running a meet is systematized, you have to be on, right? You have to be looking at everything that's going on, making sure nothing is going wrong, nothing's cutting out, nothing's going wrong, no issues in the platform, no issues with the computers and stuff. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoy meet day a lot, as tough as
Mm,
it is, especially when it's a USAPL 2 hour weigh-in, waking up at 3:30 or 4 a.m. to get there before weigh-ins so, but it's good. It's good.
yeah,
So,
no, without a giant support team, like I said, Clay runs the medias. I have some guys that help me in the back who are also WRPF refs, who are USAPL refs. So everyone pitches in, so it makes it a lot easier. It's not just me.
and I'll tell you, man, it's so cool how things, because the sport's always growing, the sport's always morphing. But, after the issues, if you will, that came out 2 years ago, I'm someone also who I started in USPA before moving to the WRPF. Moving to the WRPF when the WRPF was absolutely nothing here in the United States. But something that, was put in rule books, by the USPA that it's like if you are involved, even if you're just a referee in one federation, you can't be in that other federation. It's like that was creating such a divide for so many years. And same with the USAPL because the USAPL at that time was attached to the IPF, right?
Yeah, Article 14.
Yeah, exactly. So now that being gone, and being able to have the unity of two, big, different but similar style federations and being able to do both has created so much more opportunity for business owners slash gym owners, for meet directors, for athletes, that if they know in their town, oh, it's only USAPL because they can't do anything else if they wanted to. No, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of doors have opened, and it's been a lot of progress in that regard. And I hope it only continues, because who's to say why not? If Article 14 gets gone, it's lost. Why not run a Powerlifting America meet also? If people want to try to do that to do nationals and go to worlds or whatever the hell it is. But it's been good progress, and regardless of how shitty and weird everything that happened 2 years ago, it put a lot of good people in contact with each other and created a lot of cool stuff.
I agree. I mean, you always have to find a silver lining, and I definitely think WRPF was a silver lining for a lot of people, and it put people in a lot of good positions.
Hell yeah. So what's next for you besides having a million meets on your calendar? What's next for you in the world of owning a gym, in the world of meet directing, etc.
So, like, let's see, the next thing we have a meet for WRPF next week. So that'll be the third or fourth meet this year for that. but I signed up for nationals for WRPF, so I'll be there in October for that. So I just started prepping for that in a sense. When it comes to the gym, I mean, I really am just always on the lookout for a bigger space. I would like something, at least 10,000 square feet. That way I have even more room to play with because we keep adding more and more things to these meets to make them better. Like we're introducing a video wall for WRPF this weekend coming up. And it's like we've used it for USAPL, but now it's like I get to really, play with it some more.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. I'm envious. Anytime I hear anything over 5,000 square feet, I'm like, man, 'cause my gym is like 4,700 square feet, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. I could never see myself moving from there just because of how special it is, and because I own it. But my dream is right next door. There's a business. It's like a Botox beauty place, this, that, and the other. That's an additional like 2,200 square feet. I'm just waiting for the day and waiting for the time that I have an opportunity with that guy and be like, let me buy this place and expand into that. But 8,600 square feet, that's awesome. 10,000 square feet, I'm excited to see what you can do with it. I'm excited to see the video walls, the kind of production side of things that you're adding to it, and keeping that Virginia level hype. You got the American Pro out there, and now you're bringing that same kind of production to local level meets. It's very cool to see.
Yeah, I mean that's what everyone wants. They see the American Pro, they see raw nats, they want that in their backyard. So the more I can offer to them, the better.
Hell yeah, man. So sign us out. Let everyone know where they can find you and your gym.
Well, you can find me at Sean Smith Fit and on Instagram or the Chaos Lab Gym on YouTube. Any of those places are fine. Definitely love being on here. So definitely thank you again.
Hell yeah, Sean. It was great chatting with you, and I'll see you out in Virginia at the American Pro later this year.
For sure. Can't wait.
Have a good